Hello, thank you for tuning in to this week's reads. Just a quick couple of things before we get into it. This should be on the YouTube channel James13 Wicca. I like to put that out there in case somebody's pirating my stuff. It happens once in a while. It happens to all of us, it seems, one sooner or later. I also do in-person readings in Herkimer, New York. So if you're near Herkimer, New York, feel free to shoot me an email to see if you can get a time slot for that. I have an Instagram that's below that shows my current pricing. Of course, if you would like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com, James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. The donation information is also below if you just want to send a donation, which I very much appreciate. That being said, let's go ahead and get into your reading. Hello, Virgo. Thank you very much for tuning in to this week's read. These readings are valid for whenever you come to them. That being said, what do we have for Virgo? I don't know why it feels so warm to me all of a sudden. I don't know what's going on. I think it's like 68 in my house, but I feel all of a sudden like it got really warm, which is, I don't know what that's about. I don't know if that's a me thing or if it's for the reading, because when I was shuffling, it happened then too. Like all of a sudden I got this blast of heat, and I'm like, what is up with that? And it's just on my face, nowhere else on me. I just noticed it right on my face, and I'm like, what is going on with that? I don't know if I like that. How many of these cards are we going to put out? We got one more that wants to come out, which is the King of Swords reversed, flat out reversed. All right, we'll find out what that is. It's around you. The King of Swords reversed, it's not usually good. It could be somebody who thinks they know what they're talking about and demands to be in control, but literally is missing information or does not know what they're talking about. Even though maybe sometimes they do and maybe normally they do, this might be one of those situations where somebody who typically knows what they're doing does not know what they're doing. And the question is, why is that happening? I'm definitely an intuitive reader. I have to take the energy as it flows in. There's something here where I feel like somebody definitely thinks they know what they're talking about. They don't know what they're talking about. Either there's misinformation they're working from, or there could be something else. Sometimes I've noticed, like, this happens when people are, like, they're functioning through an illness. Could be a cold, could be, like, pneumonia, could be something more serious. But sometimes people are functioning through an illness, if you follow me. Seems like they're okay, but, like, you know, the thoughts aren't quite making it where they need to be. It could be somebody who's normally pretty good, but in this situation, it's just not. You might need to fact check things, because I'm getting like, something's not right here. Something's not going right. Take it with a grain of salt. You know, it's a general read. The devil's showing up half in, half out. And by half in, half out, it means it's like not right side up, not upside down. There's some good things and not so good things coming in here. There's some figuring it out, some not understanding what's going on. We're trying to make a successful situation. The question is, will it be? You might have to push back a little. All right. That's the thing. I think that's another piece of this. If this is happening, and there's somebody here who, like, they're normally pretty good, but something, it's just not adding up. One of the reasons you're seeing it is because you know there's certain, at the very least, there's certain pieces, elements, whatever you want to call it, that you know that doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, you know, how do I put this? Like, you're not going to use cheese to, like, make a low-fat dinner usually. And you're like, well, wait a minute. I guess if you use certain types of cheese, can it really be low-fat? I feel like I'd be like, well, cheese. You're gonna use a lot of cheese for a low-fat dinner. Like, wait a minute, wait. What type of cheese is this? What type of cheese is this? And is it actually cheese? And it's kind of like, I feel like it's one of those things where I go even deeper. It's kind of like, wait, why are you making that low-fat? Because there's some cheeses that maybe they're low-fat, but are they high salt? And is that going to, like, you rob Peter to pay Paul? Is that going to be like, well, you're good on that, but you're really bad on this, and that's not really helping the situation? There's something here that it's like, wait a minute. What are you doing? It's kind of like, you're going to use cheese for low fat. wait, what? I feel like I keep stepping back. Like, I guess I keep thinking of that, like, that salt cheese, or most people don't call it. What do you call it? Like when you get the canned Parmesan, I think of it as salt cheese because it's got cheese flavor. It's very salty, and if you compare it to like authentic Parmesan, it's very different in my opinion. So it's kind of like you're adding a lot of that in there, or like the flavor packets that are just kind of like, what are you doing? You seem to know that something isn't right, and that seems to be the first trigger. And you're not really sure what to do with it. And I feel like I don't want to say anything at first. You got this. This is the strength card. That's the thing about these circular cards. They're like, see, it's not completely right set up. It's not completely upside down. It's got a little bit of a, like, I don't really want to, but maybe I should. Maybe I need to say something. I'm trying to get along. I want to work with others. I don't really want to take the lead on this, but at the same time, I don't want to be a part of something that we're wasting effort. I don't want to like put my energy into something and then it gets thrown in the trash. I don't show up for that. That's not really what I want to do. So maybe I need to say something. You are very well liked, by the way, which I think actually adds another level of complication to this. You are well liked. You are. If this reading is hitting, I get that you are. It doesn't have to mean you like the person that likes you, so let's just put that in there. Just because they like you doesn't mean you have to like them. We've had that. I think we've all had that happen in life where people are like, "Oh, you're the awesome," and you're thinking to yourself, "You're not," but that's nice. I don't care if you like me because I don't like you. We have those moments. We all have those moments. Maybe we don't verbalize it, but we think it. Two of Fire and the Emperor reversed. Yeah, I feel like I'm trying to get along. This, especially if this is like a work thing or even a family thing for some of you. I feel like this happens a lot in family dynamics. Somebody is in the family or possibly even married in, and you're like, well, I got to be nice to this person because if I'm not, it makes other complications over here. You know, I got to work with what I got. I got to make it work. Normally, if I just met this person on the street, I wouldn't look twice, but because of how they fold in, and there might be more levels to this. I keep seeing like this could be a very complicated dynamic. Like I got to get along with that person because I like this person, and that this person's married to this person or something like that, or it's this person's kid or this person's parent or whatever. You know how that works. Or of course, if it's a work situation, that's the boss or whatever, or it's a coworker or this other reason. It's getting kind of convoluted there. I don't think we have to go down and up. They like you. Doesn't mean you like them. You could. Doesn't mean you like them. You could. I'm holding back conversations here. I don't want to do this, is what I'm going. Like, I don't want to be involved in this next level. I don't want to do this. But at the same time, I'm like, I also don't want to waste my time. I also don't want to do that. Very kind of like, what am I going to do with this? The moment is passing. I get that. So I feel like you already know this. You already know this. The moment is passing. That's what I'm getting with this, the star card going like this. The moment is passing. You could actually make this better. The moment is passing. To me, a lot of times I see the star card, especially because there's an Aquarius connection to this as a communication card. You don't have to be completely direct. You just have to be effective. What I mean by that is, like, somebody recently said this, and I kind of agree with it. If the situation is high stress, but we need to have a change, and you're like, I don't want that energy coming directly at me, you could go the, like, let's just start the conversation and make sure the right people are connected so that, like, we get the conversation started, and then I just keep pushing forward the facts here, like, this doesn't make sense. And somebody will say something sooner or later. So it could be like a group conversation, for example. Nowadays we do group texts a lot. We could push that forward and try to see if that works. So you don't have to be directly there, like, especially when it says something about be you, be the real you. You don't have to be the person who directly says it, but you might be the person who has to start the conversation and keeps kind of, like, you know, let's drive down this street and, oh, look at that house. That looks a little interesting. Who lives there? Oh, Aunt Sue. Like, wonder what's going on there. Maybe we should stop in and find out. Like, like, keep trying to nudge it. Like, maybe we should deal with this. Maybe instead of saying, you know, Aunt Sue, you know, has made some bad financial decisions and she's going to lose her house. Instead of going there, going, maybe we should just, oh, it looks a little run down lately. Maybe we should stop in and see her and see what's going on. You know what I mean? You don't have to be completely direct. It doesn't have to completely be on your shoulders to fix this. But again, I keep getting that energy that I don't want to be a part of this and just waste my time. So it's kind of like, how can I actually create a change without being the direct connection? Possibilities are here. Why do we want to? I'm worried also that I'm going to have to be the one that does it. If it comes forward, I'm kind of worried that I'm going to have to be the one that does it. Be willing, consider being willing. There we go. To kind of like try to like gently delegate things. You know, oh, maybe we could help Aunt Sue have a fundraiser. She's been having this issue and that issue. Maybe that could happen. Oh, so-and-so, you've done those before. Would you be willing to head that up or get that started or something? Kind of like put things out there. See if so-and-so would be willing to start it. And just keep like suggesting like, oh, you've done that before. Would you be willing to do that? At the end when people have already taken their assignments, I feel like you will lend in your help, but like keep it to the end and see what has to be done. You don't have to be the leader of this, but like you might be able to kind of like say, oh, you've done these type of fundraisers before. Would you be willing to kind of like start that at least, and see if they want your help? I would be careful of offering, and see if they ask, and just keep going down the line and see like, you know, keep a group text going if it can. Like try to keep a group, some type of like thing where communication in a group can keep happening. So where you can lend a hand where you feel necessary, but you don't have to be the one in direct control. Give ideas out. Putting out ideas isn't forcing anybody to do anything. Just seeing who wants to do what, and like that way it can move forward. Because I feel like that's part of it. Like I don't want to lead this whole thing. I don't want to be in control of it. Put it out there, see if other people will grab on. Put in suggestions of other people who might be good at it. Especially if you angle it like, oh, I know you're good at this. Would you be willing to do this? Suggestions, just suggestions. Just keep reminding people. It's just a suggestion. That might help relieve the stress, relieve the burden a little bit, so you can kind of move forward and create something different than what's actually working. Well, what's actually not working, we should say. Because I feel like as we're stepping forward, things are going to work out, and we might be able to avert. This is how it came in. So it's almost upside down. We might be able to avert this unhappy moment. Right side up, it's usually like heartbreak, unhappiness, some type of depression. Upside down, which is not totally upside down, but it's kind of like we might be able to like either avert it or possibly lessen it. It depends how it's coming into your life. Sometimes when I see this upside down, it's more of a lessening something that's going to happen anyway. It depends what else is coming out with it. I'm definitely one of those. I have to take into effect what else is around this card. It's not just by itself. So it might be just a lessening of it. We want to be careful too about people who don't get along. We don't have to address that. We don't? Okay, that's good. I mean, I'm not complaining. People who don't get along, we can let that be their problem. This Five of Wands is conflict. I see Five of Wands as conflict. People who are not getting along, even though we're lessening or possibly averting, depending on how it's hitting, that doesn't have to be your problem. People who have their own problems can solve their own problems. We can just step back and let them deal with their own issues. Sometimes I have this little tagline I say to myself, like, people's problems are just that, their problems. And we can just leave it their problems. I'm just saying. Take it with a grain of salt, it's a general read. Something that might work to your benefit is helping deconstruct some things that aren't working. Because if you're deconstructing things that aren't working, you're going to do it slowly, possibly more comfortably. So it's kind of like, before we completely deconstruct this, We're going to do it slowly to make sure it's having the positive effect we want. You might be very effective, and like some of this situation has to be deconstructed or possibly reworked. And it's kind of like we're going to change it, or we're going to look at it, and we're going at it a little bit at a slower pace and deconstruct some things and try to rebuild it. But we're going to be very careful and see how it got there. And like, is there anything here that we can, like, as we're deconstructing it, I keep seeing reports. I did this, it was like over a decade ago at this point. I remember there was this one project, there was a lot of reports. And there's a lot of reports. I think it was like, I don't know how many there was, but like we were able to take some of those reports and effectively still use the information. But the whole system, even though the whole project changed, there was some reports where there was good information that we could salvage that information and use it to our benefit, which was interesting because the knee-jerk reaction was people just wanted to throw the whole thing out and just start from scratch. Thankfully, we didn't do that. And we were able to like, all right, this report, all right, granted, 75% of it we don't need, but the 25, at least we don't have to rework that. We can just take that information and use it to our benefit. So we kept all the reports we did, and we just, were able to use. And I feel like that's what you're kind of doing, kind of like, instead of throwing it all out, let's hold up, let's see what's in there. Maybe we can use some of it, probably not as much as we want to, but at least some of it maybe we can utilize to our benefit. That's why they're going slowly, and you're helping the situation go better. Things are going better, things are going to feel better, things are going to make better sense. It's kind of like, well, at least it's not a total washout. At least. I keep getting that at least energy there. It's going to kind of like release somebody from feeling trapped. I don't know what that energy is. I don't know what to say about that energy that seems like it normally knows, but maybe for some reason it's just not doing well. You're releasing a trap energy, which could be literally that person who's normally in control realizing that they don't have to be, or it could be other people realizing that this energy's not handling things well. We don't have to just listen to it. We can do something else. There's something here where you're creating a different change. Maybe people aren't realizing directly that you're creating that change, but I get that you kind of are by helping this move forward. The new things can stabilize. What is that? Four of Swords reversed. All right, so we got to be careful about how things restabilize. Healing, I don't, especially with upside down, I'm getting, healing is probably not going to show up at this point. When I think of healing, I'm just like feeling like not only are we working out what went wrong, but we're rebuilding it in a more healthier way. I feel like this is more of the period of like deconstructing and then making different decisions. So it's kind of like, that didn't work, so we're going to kind of start deconstructing it, and we're going to start deciding what we want to do. Which you can argue that could be a version of healing, but I feel like the actual work towards healing doesn't happen till later. So it's kind of like, this food is making somebody sick, so we're trying to decide which ones we're going to take out of the diet. But before we actually do it, we're making a plan to like what we're going to replace it with. So maybe we're still eating the same stuff that's not working, but we're starting to take some of that stuff. We're taking the really bad things out first, and we're deciding what else needs to come out while deciding what we need to put in later. We're kind of in the process. So I get like there's not really healing here. It makes me feel like I'm getting like the diet thing, like people are still eating the same things until somebody has a better plan, until the better plan is settled. Take it with a grain of salt, because I feel like when I keep getting that healing isn't happening yet. I feel like we got to be careful about how we reconstitute things, but I also feel like the healing doesn't happen until the plan is set. That might take some time. It doesn't have to be bad, but there's going to be people who do not want to. So again, I'm going to use that person as an example. Maybe they're normally on the ball, but at the moment they're not. We might have to move them out of that position for a while, possibly permanently. That might be something where people don't want to deal with that or address it. It's just an analogy. It doesn't have to be that way. But there's a change here that's going to be more permanent, more long-standing, and it's kind of not totally coming in. People are fighting against it with the Ten of Swords. These two kind of seem to be at odds with each other. Stay the course is what this says. Keep going. This change needs to happen. Just, keep the same thought in mind. You don't have to be in the direct spotlight, as long as you keep kind of moving it forward where it needs to go, carefully, slowly. At some point, I feel like that's why the healing isn't happening. Until the change actually happens, the healing doesn't happen, is what I'm getting. And that depends how this plays out for you when that happens. That last part, I feel like they're just kind of giving a heads up. This might be quite a long process. It might be. Might be. I think we're there. I'm going to shut this down here. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email. jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below. Same email. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.